Alright YouTube, so a few days ago on Twitter, I was asked to do a video kind of talking about the dialogue system for Fallout 76, or really, I guess, the lack of a dialogue system. So we're addressing the Game Informer article yet again. With that, we learned that there's really no dialogue system at all for Fallout 76. We don't get the option to actually decide quests or make quests go, or conversations go in any certain direction. We just kind of have NPCs talk to us. So really quickly, verbatim, it says, the big difference between Fallout 76 and the other games in this series is you don't engage in conversation with most of the NPCs. You still hear what they have to say, but you don't have dialogue choices to steer the conversation or mission in a different way. So for starters, something that a lot of people don't seem to be addressing is that it says you don't engage in conversation with most NPCs. We will be talking with some of them. We probably won't have the option to, do a quest in a different way or whatever, which does kind of suck, but we do still engage in conversation with some NPCs. A lot of people seem to be jumping on this as like a big deal and it sucks and whatever and all that stuff. Like, to me, it wasn't that big of an issue that we weren't going to engage in dialogue with any NPCs in the game because we've known that there aren't any NPCs. Like, if there was a dialogue system for Fallout 76, what would you be talking to? Would you be talking to some Scorch Beast? You're going to talk to the super mutants trying to kill you? You're going to talk to a tree? There's no NPCs in the game for the most part, except some robots. Like, I didn't even acknowledge this part of the Game Informer article when I did my recap video. I had to, go in the comments and be like, oh yeah, I didn't address the fact that there's not really a dialogue system for the game. Which, again, that's what I'm saying. I passed over that when recapping it because it didn't feel exactly like new information, though it kind of is. We haven't outright been told that there's no dialogue system. But we sort of known because of the lack of NPCs that, again, what would you be talking to? We can talk to each other through the emo wheel. We've seen that already. And, of course, there's going to be voice chat with parties. And we know here recently that there is a proximity chat as well. So it's like there's never a need for a dialogue system. You can talk to the notes that you find on the ground. You're going to talk to the Found World quest. You're going to talk to some terminals. There's nothing to talk to anyway in the game. Now, I will agree this isn't a great thing. This also adds to the fact that this game's probably going to be very linear, which we already kind of assumed, being that it is a multiplayer Fallout game and stuff like that. No NPCs, so there wasn't going to be a lot of in-depth side quests, and the fact that now there's no dialogue system as well for what little NPCs are going to be in the game. This game is going to be very linear, which does kind of suck, but this isn't meant to be a game that you play through multiple times like you would a regular Fallout game. This is a game that's going to be constantly evolving. They're going to have daily, weekly, monthly events, of course. A game you're going to be doing a lot of stuff with your friends. There's a huge world to explore, 4 times the size of previous Fallout games. And that's the biggest thing here. Every step of the way when we get information, we have people being like, man, this is different from the previous Fallout games. Well, no shit, dude. It's a multiplayer Fallout game. Everything about this game is going to be pretty damn different from the previous Fallout games. That's kind of the point. Legitimately, everything about this game is different from the previous Fallout games, outside of the fact that it is kind of built off the Fallout 4 stuff. It was an idea that was conceptualized for Fallout 4, multiplayer Fallout 4, and it looks like Fallout 4, obviously, with the graphics and the gameplay. But pretty much everything about this game is different from the previous Fallout games. The fact, of course, that it is a multiplayer online-only Fallout game. It's going to be something that's updated constantly throughout the years to come. The fact that there's no NPCs, the West Virginia looks, at least the first biome, the forest area, looks to be untouched completely by the bombs, which is interesting. We're seeing a lush green world. The leveling system and the perk system, of course, are different from the previous Fallout games. And look, I'm not saying that these changes are necessarily great for the Fallout series, but it's not the norm going forward. And I know people are like, oh, it's going to be the norm. It's not. They're not going to keep these things. The community clearly is really against this game. And again, I've said in the past, I want to say 50-50 roughly. Half the community wants this game, half the community doesn't. They're not going to stick with this stuff. You're not going to see Fallout 5 and there's no dialogue at all. Fallout 5 is not going to be multiplayer, calm down. People's biggest issue with Fallout 76 is they are trying to compare it to the previous Fallout games. Same thing with Fallout 4. We tried to compare it to Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and I've been guilty of this too as well. But ultimately, when you're going to discuss or review a game, you have to review it as it stands by itself. You gotta let this game stand on its own feet. Are you upset about the lack of a dialogue system? Sure, I am too, to a degree, but you gotta ask yourself, does that even make sense in a game with no NPCs? Again, I've said it 2 or 3 times in this video. What and who the hell would you talk to if there even was a dialogue system? And look, we've seen games like No Man's Sky get massive updates to completely change the landscape of the game and how it plays, and that could happen for this game too. Sometime down the road, they could update this game with a massive update or add-on that adds in NPCs and even some kind of a makeshift dialogue system. Even as simple as the Fallout 4 one would still be nice. Not saying it's going to happen, but it is a possibility. My biggest issue with Fallout 76 and the community is let's play the game first. Let's get our hands on the beta and then decide whether or not the game is going to be good or bad. As an example, Call of Duty, I use them in almost every video. I don't know why. Blackout, the Blackout mode, the Battle Royale mode for Black Ops 4, everybody was shit on. Oh my god, I cannot believe Activision, I cannot believe Treyarch, I cannot believe Call of Duty is making a Battle Royale mode. I cannot believe it. It comes out, and people are playing the beta right now, and it's being hyped up as the PUBG killer. It's something that can actually rival Fortnite, which isn't necessarily true. Obviously, Fortnite's like massive, but still, it's one of the best Battle Royales ever made, and that's just in the beta. And the point of that example is everybody was hopping on the bandwagon of this is going to be super duper bad until they actually played it, and I'll be damned if it's not great. And Fallout 76 could come out and we could play it and it could feel and play terribly. It's also a possibility. But I'm just saying, let's play the game first before we make our decisions. That seems like the most logical thing. Anyways, bit of a tangent near the end, but let me know your thoughts on the lack of a dialogue system for Fallout 76. Does it even bother you? As I said, I'm not a big fan of it either, but it makes sense in the context, in the world of this game. There's no NPCs, so what are we going to talk to? Am I going to talk to my settlement? Am I going to talk to my Nuka-Cola machine? And if you guys want to enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, turn on notifications, follow me on Twitter at TheDashingDavid, and my Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Conclusions, all the things that we thought we were losing. I'm a ghost and you know this. That's why we broke up in the first place. 'Cause I want